Hey everyone, I'm Brian Sparks, editor of Greenhouse Grower, back in the garden with Dr. A. Allan Armitage. And Alan, I love the garden behind you this morning.
Yes, it is. We're in spring for sure, I'll tell you. But, it was warm not a few days ago, and now it's 42, 43, 44 degrees. But the garden is really popping. And isn't that that's our greatest asset in our industry is called spring.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
well, it's right here. So I can go outside and have a cup of tea or a liter, a glass of wine, and yeah, just enjoy it. So that's what everybody wants to do. And that's why we have an industry, is because they'll look forward to whatever you're singing. You're looking forward, Brian. I know.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Sitting here in Northeast Ohio where it's 30 degrees right now, I'm definitely looking forward. And you used the word asset there a second ago. And I want to talk about one specific asset for this industry, and that's cut flowers. You've seen the continued emergence of the domestic cut flower market. I know, Alan, you've paid very close attention to this. Let's talk about, from the breeder side and the broker side, how they can continue to capitalize and focus more on this ever-evolving market.
It's the cut flower thing. And I said, let me talk. Well, cut flowers, if you ask anybody who knows anything about anything, cut flowers come from overseas. They come
Mhm.
from Colombia, Ecuador, wherever, and they're shipped in. If you've ever been to Holland, to Alsmeer, where the cut flower market is, it's like there's acres and acres of cut flowers, and
Yeah.
you wonder where they all go. So that's always. I mean, I'm sure that's going to continue because it's easier for a florist to go put a call in and say, "Hey, go buy me 10 dozen roses and this, that, and the other thing," to a broker who can buy them overseas.
Sure.
I get it. I get it. That's going to continue. However, I mean, gosh, starting 30 years ago, this domestic cut flower industry was nascent. There was hardly anybody there. There were people doing this, but in the last bunches of years, I want to tell you, the domestic cut flower business has exploded.
Hmm.
Now, it's still a small percentage of total sales, and if you're into the whole money thing and all that stuff, you don't wanna hear this. But the fact is, there's over 3,000 members of the Association of Specialty Cut Flower Growers. That's an association we started back here in Georgia many years ago, and today, as we speak, Brian, there's a fabulous meeting going on in Virginia
Yeah.
with growers, cut flower growers operation. So, these people are really into it. And Brian, my bestseller in books is my book on cut flowers.
Oh, nice.
So
Nice.
it's just that people want this information. Isn't that easy to find? But having said that, what can we as an industry do to facilitate that? Well, okay, so these people may not be growing, 100 acres of cut flowers, but they're growing a few acres, and
Yeah.
that's a lot of flowers. So when the breeders start looking at what can I do for cut flowers for our market, absolutely. Whether it's a delphinium or whether it's a larkspur or whether it's, sunflowers or marigolds for cuts. There is a ton of optimistic growers looking for the newest stuff. The Cut Flower Association has trials
Hmm.
that the breeders should be getting into so that the cut flower growers themselves do the trials, they report, and so we know what works, where it works.
Yeah.
So, there's just so much. Brian, I don't think cut flowers will ever be a retail item.
Hmm.
You're not gonna have farmers markets for sure, but that is the cut flower. The
Yeah.
cut flower plant, it's going to be plugs, it's going to be 4-inch, it's going to be whatever that the brokers are gonna sell to the domestic cut flower grower. And I and the last thing, I'm babbling on too much, I apologize. The last thing that's important is having products like a sunflower
Yeah.
that not only are great garden plants, but are also good cut flowers. And we must get away in our business, our breeders in our industry. A
Yeah.
cut flower doesn't have to be 2.5 feet long. I mean, a dwarf sunflower looking fabulous in the garden can be cut and brought into the home in a vase without any problem. So
Yeah.
I think that we should be marketing a lot more multi-use flowers like cut flowers and garden plants. Certainly never give up on the breeding. And we saw a few companies who are doing a lot of breeding at cast,
Yeah.
and some don't have a whole lot of market for it, and that's fine. But and getting in touch with for instance, ASCFG or other people who are into the cut flower business because there is a market. It's a small market to be sure, but it's not going away, and it just is slowly getting better.
Oh, sure. Well, and you talk about getting the word out to the industry. So, and AdCast, as you said, we saw a lot of great cut flower varieties. We were joined by Robin Sitberg, who's a former greenhouse grower colleague, who today is the editor of the Cut Flowers Association's quarterly newsletter. And I know you and Robin, we would walk into some of these displays, and you would each marvel at some of the new varieties that you were seeing.
They're quite spectacular. And the other thing what the domestic cut flower industry can do, we cannot, I say we, I've been part of it, we cannot compete with roses, carnations, chrysanthemums, or those easy to ship plants. We can't compete very well because they look just as good 10 days later as they look when in a field and wherever they were or in the green. But we can compete on other plants to be sure. And that's what the cut flower people are looking for. Plants that are spectacular. They have a good vase life, whether it's 7 days or whatever it is. And now we're looking at this is really cool. We're looking at a domestic production of Alstroemeria. And those have all come overseas. We're not going to look like the Alstroemerias that are in the florist shop, but that's going to happen. So anyway, I'm excited about it. I've always been excited about it, of course, but it's something that our breeders and our growers and our brokers certainly can think about a little bit.
Oh, yeah. It's exciting to talk about a category that continues to grow. So, Allan, thanks for the time today to talk more about cut flowers.
Hey, Brian, it's always fun, and enjoy yourself. And don't worry, Brian, spring will come.
I hope so. Hope it comes soon.